Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks. Welcome to my studio, Stampin' Turtles. Today we're going to start a new sketchbook, and I'm so excited to show you what I am making today. I've already sketched out 2 images on my sketchbook, so you'll get to follow along while I am painting live with you. So let's just kind of get started. The whole thing was that I am starting this new one because I lost my other one that I had, and so now I have to start a new one. And today I used just some washi tape to block them off, which in my other sketchbook you may remember that I did not use any washi tape on the edges, but I just thought this might be a good way to keep it from going onto the next page because I did have a little overlap sometimes. So this will prevent that from happening. And if you don't have washi tape, just use masking tape or some other kind of tape that y'all have. But this should be pretty good. I have my little turtle holding down the little thing there. I've got my tea so I can actually maybe talk without going like a frog. And I'm going to put my hair up because it does tend to fall down into my face when I leave it down. Although I think it looks very pretty today. Started using a new conditioner and shampoo. So maybe that'll make my hair less like it has been tangling and getting all bleh, bleh, bleh. Anyways, I wanted to show you. Let me see so you guys can tell what book I'm using. So I got these off of Amazon. It was a 6-pack of them. They're 5.5 by 5.5, 140 pounds. So that's very important to have 140-pound paper, which is this thick, nice paper. This is called a watercolor journal. And I really like the size. I like that it's square. I like that it's got a hardback. So it's really nice. I'm not really sure how many pages, but I think you get quite a few pages. I mean, if you just, oops, everything's falling. Stop falling. But if you do a little flip through, and what I may do in this sketchbook, because last time when I did a picture in my sketchbook, someone wanted to buy it, and it was like on the back of another painting. So I may skip a page and then do this page and skip a page and then do this page. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. I don't know. Tell me in the comments like how you guys do your sketchbooks. Do you do or do you skip this and go to that one and just do one on the left side of each page, or how do you guys do? So I'd be curious how other people are doing their sketchbooks. I do really like using both sides. So, and I like how this lays flat. Like sometimes you'll get a sketchbook that doesn't lay so flat. This one's laying pretty flat, so I'm really liking that. As you know, I've got my, let me see. This is not an overhead. Wait, I do have the close-up. I guess this is fine. I was kind of like thinking you could get a wider view of what I'm doing. Let me see. We can do that. This is kind of weird because maybe you want to see my palette. So my palette's a little bit off to the side here. It's fine. I got my water. I got all kinds of stuff here. I already did my sketch. And so this one's going to be like a woodsy path, you know, like you're going through the woods. This one's going to be a little beta fish because I don't know. I just kind of want to do something different. And I haven't been doing animals yet this year, so thought I'd start by showing you this one. So I may start on this page. I don't know. We'll see. What do you want me to start with? Woods or fish? Y'all are staying so quiet. Give me some hearts, thumbs up or something. Let me know y'all are excited for today. Because today is a new day. It's Monday. And as you know, I go live at 10 a.m. on Monday, and that's Central Standard Time, I believe. So Ooh, I made you the little pen tracing around at the end. I really like how that looks at the end. I had some other pens that I was using too, and they were waterproof, but I kind of like these gel pens, and they're very inexpensive, and they're just super adorable because they got a little kitty on them. So, anyways, if you haven't bought Amazon, it's like a love-hate relationship. Sometimes I get stuff and it looks obviously like someone returned it and that they didn't even check the box when someone returned it, and you can just tell it's been used or it's been tampered with in a way. So it just makes me kind of crazy sometimes getting stuff like that. So we're going to use this Perylene Red, I think it is, or maybe this is Cad Red. I don't remember what this one is. But here's my little chart for everything on here. And so I thought this would be a great base for my betta fish. So we're not even going to wet the fish right now. We're just going wet on dry. Why? Because I think we're going to get the most bang for our buck when we do this. Right? I think we'll end up having a nice, pretty, and bright fishy. Who remembers, is it Dory from Nemo? Fishy. Poor little fishy. Huh. Poor little fishy. Was shooken. But you know me, I love me some animals. I got me a whole zoo at my house. And I love them, my animals. My boxy turtles have been very active. I'm gonna design them a little outdoor habitat for the babies because the babies are so little. I'm afraid to just put them out there, and everything eats them, and they're so vulnerable. So I'm just like, I don't know if I'll put them out yet, but if I do design something, I might put a lid with a lock and a screen over it. And make sure there's a screen underneath the dirt. So like nothing from below, nothing from above can get them. Now see how beautiful and bright that is. That's so pretty. Now the bottom part of him is going to be dark. He's going to be more of a shadow on the bottom. So we're going to mix my Payne's Gray that I squeezed out here. Payne's Gray is really fun. And I'm just going to do that right on the bottom. And I don't even have my little reference photo, but that's okay. And we're just going to add some right there and just let that bleed. That's what we like. We like to see it bleed. I had a paper towel. Where is it? It's like always trying to find a paper towel. And what's cool about having two paintings side by side that you can start at the same time is like when you're waiting for this one to dry, you can work on this one and then go back and forth. Because a lot of times I'm impatient. I don't like to wait. And so starting more than one painting is a great idea, I think. So tell me where you guys from. Give me some love in the chat, and I would love to hear if you're brand new to watercolor or what y'all are up to painting wise, if you started any new paintings lately, or if you do have your own sketchbook that you've started. I should open my phone up and look at this reference photo. Maybe that would be better than just kind of going by memory, because a lot of times I can't remember things. Let's make sure I'm live. Paintings lately. Okay, I heard my voice. We're doing good. So if we can hear me, that's good, right? We want to be able to hear. But yeah, I took a picture from Canva, the Dream Lab, and I was able to create this beautiful image. And the beautiful image was pointing the other direction. So on my phone, I ended up reversing it so it would point that way. And also it was pointing more horizontal, and I like the angle. So you can do a lot of changes as the artist. You can make a lot of cool, you can do a lot of cool things with it. So you don't always have to stick with one direction or whatever. I love using Canva. I do have the Pro, and it just works really great for what I need. And so you may want to invest in that if you're an artist and want to use it to get some great ideas, things like that. Look at that. So pretty, so pretty. It's a pretty fishy. And there is like a thing here to know. But I think it's important also to remember that whenever you're creating something, you don't have to be perfect, okay? That's another thing I'd like everyone to let go of, the idea of being perfect, because you don't have to be perfect. You can be you, be unique. I've seen some art in museums that's like insane, because it's like, did a 5-year-old do that? And not bashing on 5-year-olds, but sometimes you think to yourself, I could paint that. And so this is still too wet. See how that is? Let me zoom in. Zoom in, zoom in. Watch when I try and paint on there. See, well, now I put a little more paint. It's really hard sometimes when your paint is too wet. It just spreads too much and you get no definition. So this is actually giving me, did I transition? No, of course not. So this is actually doing a little bit of what I wanted. I wanted some interesting, you know how fish have those little ridges in their fins? I like that. And I wanted to kind of do something where I show off those ridges. And I think it's kind of coming along. It might be the right consistency of paint right now. It might be. Sometimes I'm like, what do I do? But I like this. This is turning out pretty. Make this a little darker. And some more little ribs in their fin. I like that. And then this was supposed to be all dark in here. And I am just using Payne's Gray directly in there. I think it's just pretty. You can make some colors in there. Now I haven't done the background. Now sometimes it's better to do the background first, but I just wanted to get into the subject matter. And if that's how you work, do it that way. If you like to do it, sorry. If you like to do it in reverse, if you want to do the background first, you can, and then do the subject matter. That can be always, your way of doing things. You can change it up. You can do whatever you want. So you can just have fun. So now we're looking at this, and look at how pretty it's already looking. And I did want it to have this pretty, I don't know, I wanted it to have a pretty background. So we'll see if I can get it to have a pretty background. And then it has some of this. So yeah, it's starting to come along. I like it. You like it? Do you like it? I think it looks good. And if you want to darken your red, you can always add a little bit of green to it. Sometimes when you add green to your red, it'll just have that really cool effect of just making it just a slight bit darker. I was using the Payne's Gray too. So Payne's Gray is really fun. Really fun to do. And I'm just adding like a kind of shadow in here because I got a little bit of that green. And I may end up adding more of that red in there, trying to make it look like it's got shadows and folds. And see, I just think that looks kind of pretty. And as you practice painting, you'll learn. You'll learn what you like and how to create what you want to create. And it's all about practicing, y'all. You need to practice. That's why we start the sketchbook. Sorry. That's why we start a sketchbook, so that we can learn how to paint better, right? So now I'm just going to let all of that dry, right? We're going to let that dry. So do you guys want to start on the other side and watch me paint the woods? Because we're going to go back and forth. And you might be worried about using a red tint water. It's not going to be a big whoop, in my opinion. It's going to be no big deal. So what am I going to do? I'm going to mix my own green. And you can't see off camera so well, but I'm going to mix a green out of yellow and blue. And I may not have mixed enough. We'll see what happens. And I'm just mixing that up, and I'm going to do over the whole thing. Now, some people may think, oh, what is that all about? It's just to make it that color all the way over the whole thing, okay? Now the path is going to be brown. There's going to be sunlight coming through. I don't even think I have a picture to show y'all, but that's okay. I'm going to do a light wash of that brown. Just look how awesome. I do really like this sketchbook. I've forgotten how nice it is, and I have several different browns I like to mix together sometimes. So these are trees, and we'll just put a little bit of, like, I don't know, like the little pine cones or something, or fallen. So this is so far what I've done. So it's just a plain old wash. Plain. Nothing too fancy. I can see the water is kind of separating it and making cool little blooms. We'll let that continue. I can't really do too much more to this. I can do some more yellowish green maybe. Mixing my blue. We want darker greens towards the bottom, lighter greens towards the top. And you know, sometimes I use my sap green and I mix it, or I don't really mix it too much. I just let it do whatever on the paper. I like it sometimes straight out of the tube. So now we're just getting there, and it's a little shiny from my light. It's hard when the paper is real wet. I get that glare. So hopefully you can see it. It's actually worse when I lift it. So it's going to dry a little bit, and it'll start to look great. And then I'll have like some trees and shadow and stuff. It'll be so pretty. It'll look like you want to go through the forest and just see different things like little critters and squirrels, and I can picture all kinds of things on a path in the woods. I love looking for mushrooms. I don't know if y'all like to find mushrooms on your hikes and stuff, but whenever I see a mushroom, guess what? I gotta take a picture of it. Even in my own backyard, I gotta take a picture of a mushroom when it pops up out of the grass or out of the tree. I have like so many varieties of mushrooms that pop up out of the ground. Some look like they're rotted and nasty. Some are like those pretty white ones that get real big. So I love mushrooms. I love seeing all kinds of different mushrooms. But so let's see how we're doing on time. Mm. So let's go back to our fishy fish while we wait for this side to dry, okay? Because if we do any more on this, it's just going to keep blending and just be fuzzy. So we got to wait for it to dry a little bit. So this I want to do, just wet the background. And I'm going to try and be careful to go around my fishy, because I don't want to put blue on the fishy. But the background is going to be a pretty blue. And I may need to use this palette that my daughter gave me. If you don't know by now, I love turtles. So everything is pretty much a turtle. I got my little turtle here, my turtle here that my friend Rachel gave me. I got my turtle necklace on, turtle earrings on. So that's why we are stamping turtles. It's kind of fun. So I'm going to mix a little bit of these blues together. I don't even remember which blues these are. So we're just going to mix up whatever's on here and see. So the thing about mixing up a pretty teal blue is adding that little bit of green. So I'm going to have to add some of that yellow, I think, to this. So we'll use this kind of, this yellow and see what happens. We just keep adding yellow and see what happens. That seems kind of like a dark teal. Let me see what happens. It's kind of dark. Maybe add this lighter yellow. Bye, sweetie. Have fun at school. Let me see if I like that color. Ooh, I do like that color. But I wish it was lighter. And you know how you make things lighter, right? With watercolor. You do water. Water makes things lighter. So I'm just going to add some more water. And that is just water. It makes it really so much lighter. You almost can't even see it. See how I add more and more water to that and it just lightens it up? That is super pretty. I like that. Now I can add a little bit of dark in there to add, like it almost looks like waves. Like a shimmer of light upon the water, right? Shimmering. So pretty. So that's looking great. Just rinse my brush again, dry my brush again. And I did kind of put a green plant when I drew. So I'm wondering if I should do that. If I should do it now or let that just kind of dry a little bit more. Probably should dry a little bit more. So I'm going to put my little blue palette over there. I made this all blue because I use so much blue. I like mixing all my blues together, so I don't even know what you would call that. But that's what I like. I like to create my own blues. So, do you want to see a close-up of that? You want to see how it looks up close? Let's see. How's that look? I like all these little highlights and lowlights or whatever, different tones, different values in the background. And you can tell my red kind of bled a little bit into the blue, which kind of is pretty. I like it. I want this to be a little more blended in there. That's okay. So see, that's really pretty. I like how that's looking. And my fish is looking pretty still. I'll probably go back in when it dries a little more and give some more detail. So, let me go back out and we're gonna work on our path through the woods side, okay? So, and I like to keep my palette in there, so I'm trying to keep it in there. But let's see if we can add some more of these tree trunks. So these are tree trunks. Lots of trees in the forest, right? Lots of trees. And don't be afraid, y'all. Just keep going. Keep trying to do stuff. And you don't learn unless you try doing stuff, right? You gotta keep experimenting and keep trying new things. You won't know what's working unless you try it. So that's super wet. I used a kind of wet brush with some of that. And I really liked what was on the palette already. I don't even know what that was, but I'm going to add some of that over here. That might give us a more fun brightness in there. Might mix up some more of this darker yellowish green. I'm keeping an eye on the time and also my dog. What is she up to? She's like one of the craziest dogs I know. Let me just tell you. Crazy, crazy. So see how I'm just kind of adding some of these little leaves here and there? It's just kind of random. It's very random. And you don't want anything to be like polka dots. You want it to be more of an organic feel to it. And you can change up your brush size to get different effects. But right now I'm liking how that's looking. And I'm going to rinse again. I don't know if you can see my water, probably not. But look at how dark it is now. And I'm not going to clean that out, y'all, because it doesn't really make a big difference unless you're trying to make like pure white snow. I don't know what's going on out there. I'll have to beat that dog if it's being bad. Not really, but she is just crazy sometimes, my dog. So maybe I'll add just a little Payne's Gray in here. I like Payne's Gray, you know that. So I'm just putting that right in there on maybe one side of the path, maybe this side, to make those tree trunks stand out. And this side will be lighter. So I think that'll look good. And then you're going to have a shadow going across. So you may want to mix your brown and Payne's Gray together. And you can even add some of that blue in there. And it can be a really pretty path that you're just making the shadows fall across. And there you go. Look at that. It's looking pretty good. And it kind of goes up the other embankment of the, so it's starting to look like shadows across the path. But I'm doing pretty good. It's only been 30 minutes, y'all, and look what I've accomplished. And you can do this too. Just start a sketchbook and start doing it. I'm really liking how pretty that's starting to look. My background on my fish is starting to get to that point where I need to do the background if I want it to be kind of fuzzy, like a fuzzy feel to it. So I'm going to mix up some more of my green that I've lost. So I'm just going to go in there and do kind of little random leaves on my aquatic plant. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's still really wet, so it's kind of getting almost too blurry still. It's still really wet, but I like it. I think it's going to be pretty. And my reference photo did not have these little plant thingies, but it's starting to get there, and I do like it. And I think we're going to do some pen work at the end. I think that'll look really pretty. I think anyways, it'll look nice. All right. So now we got to go back to our trees. Let's go back to our trees and see what we can do with that. Might want some more of that brownish color in there. And it's just kind of cool to watch what it does. And sometimes you want to put more trees and you don't know where to put them. So you just start adding some in there. Again, this is my imagination. This is like not anything that I'm taking a reference photo from. But I'm going to just very lightly put this darker side. And I think that's still pretty dry on that side. Add some detail into the tree on the bottom. And if you don't like how stark that is, you can just take a clean brush and just kind of wet it and make it less severe. You can always erase some trees, like you put too many trees, just erase them. You don't like what that looks on the bottom, erase that. Lots of ways of doing our paintings. So you're not stuck with one way of doing something. That's what I like about watercolors. You can erase it pretty much if you're still working on your painting and it's still pretty wet. You can fix a lot of things. I'm adding this kind of yellow ochre to make a more bright area down there. Like I want that to kind of be the sun shining in the background. You can add a little bit of that yellowish tinge into there. And some people are like, let's mix up some blue. What happens when you mix up some blue? You add it to that Payne's gray. You can make a pretty shadow color, you know? And you can get more greens in there and more dark greens. I like how you can frame a painting by putting some dark on the edges. Those might be kind of cool to make it look more unique and framed. But we'll tear off these little things at the end so you can see how it looks without all the tape on there and how it'll look pretty. I'm really liking some of the colors I'm seeing in here, so I don't know if I want to keep going too dark. But I do want some more green. I need to mix it. So I'm going to use some of that yellow and mix some of the blue and make some more of these little kind of like individual leaves. If you don't like to do that, you can always tap and make a bunch of splatters. Of course, I got a little bit of splatter on my fishy, so I just erase that real quick. But that looks pretty. I like the splatters. Can you all see that? Let me see if I can do up close. So that is pretty splatters. I actually like how that's turning out. It's really pretty. There's a bunch of paint stuck in the center there. Just dab that out. Now see how this is still really wet and over on this side. I want to add some of that darker green that I mixed. Let's see if I can add some more to make it a little darker and see what we can do. We add a little more in there. Just adds a little dimension. But see, it's so wet right here. I have to hit that with a heat tool. Make that less wet so we can make it. I don't know. I like it out of focus. I think it's kind of pretty. We can do. Have you ever tried this where you just kind of do some clean water? That can make some kind of like really cool techniques too. Or you can do salt. Salt will do the same thing on wet paper. So that might be cool. Definitely want to add a little bit more shadows in here. Just across there. And I like that. It's really blue, and I like how it's kind of interesting. And then I might mix up some more green. More green. More green. Now remember what I said about mixing a little bit of red into your green. You can do that. And it'll make it more like a sage green, which is kind of pretty. So I like that. That's looking really pretty. And you can extend your shadow up, like I said, up that embankment, and it'll look more like it's connected. Yeah, that's looking really pretty. You know what's funny is I'm watching it on my computer screen so I can tell what it looks like. And it's looking pretty good. I'm liking it. I like how this looks. I just splattered some clean water in there and I think it looks really pretty. But I may end up adding, I don't have enough contrast, y'all. I need some more contrast down here. So this is just pure little Payne's gray. And that just adds a little bit of a shadow maybe in there. And I think that'll look interesting. So just let that do what it's doing. Sometimes you just gotta wait. You gotta let it do its thing. But it's looking pretty good so far. So far, so good. I'm really liking it. I don't know. It's really very, I like kind of that loose abstract feel to my stuff. Let me see if I can, I'll show you up close. You can see how that's looking up close. And seeing how there's some of those little splatters in here that I did, and a little bit of bloom going on right in here. And it's still really wet and doing some reacting to the color already laid down, the background. So it's just kind of doing really cool things. And so I'm liking how that's looking. And sometimes when things are still kind of wet, you can use this gel pen and it reacts with the water, which is kind of cool sometimes to see what it does. I don't know if I want to do too much with this. More so I want to do the pen work on the fish. But this might be kind of cool. So on this fish, what I would probably do is start with his little eye, make that more prominent. His little mouth. Go around the edge of his body and down the side of him. And there was this part where it was his fin was right there. And I like that. That's looking pretty. Make that little doodad, whatever that's called. Maybe someone knows what that's called. I don't know. And look at how it's still really wet right here. I'm liking how that's reacting. So it's kind of pretty. Right in here is the body. And some little things towards the ends. And that's just, I'm letting this be intuitive. I'm just letting it do its thing. I'm not trying to control it. I'm not trying to make it do something. I'm just letting it do what it wants to do. And that's kind of part of becoming an artist, I think, is letting your creativity do a lot of the work. And so that's looking pretty, I think. I like it. You can add some more detail to your tree, or not tree, whatever this thing is. A little aquatic plant. Looks kind of cool. There's like some kind of gills right here. I like that. That's looking pretty. Yep. So I may end up being, that's good. I'm not sure if that's dry. What I like to do is I'll sign it probably after it's dry, because I don't know if it's really dry yet, to be honest. But I don't know. I find it fun to do this pen work and just let it do kind of fun little squiggles. I think it's fun. So now we got this over here. That's, I think, pretty much done. But now we got to do our trees a little bit more. And I think what I might do, let's see. This pen, as I like to use, is very cool because I can make a lot of details pop out. So my tree, make some more trunk standing out, these trunks. And you can really get detailed with this, or you can be loose still. And for me, I'm just kind of being very loose with that. And then this side, you also have to have some trees over here. And then this trunk has like some roots. Can y'all see what I'm doing? So that's like the bottom of that tree. And like some of these trees are real, like I said, this is from my imagination. I don't even know if it's accurate. Does it really matter? I'm kind of having fun. And if you're painting and you're frustrated, maybe that's not the medium for you, or maybe you just haven't given it enough time. But I do think that sometimes we expect advanced results when we first begin something, and that's not realistic. You have to allow yourself time to learn a new medium. Like I started up some oil painting with the water-based or water-soluble oil paints, and I'm taking a few YouTube tutorials I followed along, and I got some good results, and then I thought, well, I can do this now without a tutorial, and I crashed and burned. So I need to be able to still follow someone's advice on how to do it until I am better at it and know how it's going to react when I'm doing things. So that's part of learning something new is you're learning from someone who already knows what they're doing and can encourage you to keep trying and practicing. Like I've always told people, go follow Paul Clark and make sure you follow his tutorials. You can follow him and stop him and start them, and it's really easy. So I know I'm just adding more over here. How do you know when to stop, right? Ooh, it's so hard to know when to stop. But you need to sometimes stop. And see, I'm trying to, I don't know if I'm adding more trees to the top of these. Maybe I can. Maybe I should stop though. You never know where to stop. And it can be fun to keep going. But I always say if you want to keep painting and you feel like your painting's done, but you want to keep painting, you need to start a new page, right? So this page right now is pretty much drying. I could give it a little heat tool. Let me see. A little heat. There. That's got to be good enough, right? You don't want to watch someone draw and paint. Like this saying, don't, watch him paint dry. That means it's boring. But this looks like it might be pretty good. I think I'm going to be done with this. And it's only 10:51. So we got like 9 minutes, I guess. Ooh, is this good or is it tearing up my paper? Let's see. Gets that satisfaction from watching this, y'all? I kind of like it. Why is this like dirty though? Must put some drops on there, but that's okay. Didn't mean to, but it's okay. All right, that didn't tear my paper. I'm very happy. Very happy. Let's see if we can go this way now. Look how crisp and clean. Love it. And this is just washi tape, y'all. Washi tape. I have buckets of washi tape. And I bought it because I like scrapbooking and I like card making and I like just paper crafting. So I bought washi tape because, well, and let's be honest, sometimes we just buy washi tape because it's so pretty. And this was cute. It has little cacti on it. Uh-oh, I did get a little bleed under there of the water, but that's okay. It's no big deal. So let's go back to our little thing here, and we will lift this up, and pull that off. Try not to tear the paper. That's one thing sometimes frustrates me with taping, is that it does tear the paper. And I'm trying to see, it is tearing right there. But if you pull it straight down, sometimes that helps to alleviate that tear. And if it's still wet underneath, it may tear. That's why you need to dry it. Dry it first. And remember, this is a sketchbook. Sketchbooks are inexpensive. Like when I bought these, I think I bought 6 for $36, so I don't even know what that means in like individual cost, but you know, someone with math skills where they can do it in their head can tell us in the chat maybe how much that turns out to be. I thought it was like $5 or $6 each, but I could be wrong because 6 times 6 is 36, right? So I think it's about $6 each, which is a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. Right, that almost was catastrophe. So looky, how pretty is that? I love it. I think it's so gorgeous. And then when I'm done with my sketchbook, I'm going to be able to go back through here and see how beautiful. And you know me, I like to sign. So I'm going to do my signature JP and the year 2025. Because then we'll be able to see how far I've come a year from now. Now, do I want to sign in this corner or in this corner? Which corner do we think would be better? Maybe this one. I'll try it again over here. But I do like to sign with the gel pen. I feel like I have more control. 2025. So now, if I wanted to, I could make some prints of these and sell them in a local art gallery, which is down in Foley. I have some paintings down there. I probably need to take her some prints. Maybe I'll take her some of these. It might be fun. But doesn't that look kind of neat? I kind of like how it looks. It's kind of a pretty little look. But you know, I always leave you guys with a little bit of scripture at the end and tell you my story of following Jesus. And so if you haven't heard my testimony before, I probably have one on this channel, one of my earlier videos, but basically doing art in my Bible is what led me to have a deeper, meaningful relationship with Jesus, was because I actually opened my Bible. I actually started to read my Bible for myself, not just take what the church has been telling me, but to actually read the word. And when you read it yourself, sometimes you might not understand what you're reading. I like to compare different translations and see which one speaks to me in a way that I can understand. So like if you're struggling with the King James, even though a lot of people swear by the King James Bible, they say that's the only one you can read. And they say if you keep reading it, it gets easier. But for me, I want to be able to understand right away. And I like the ESV version, so I've been using that version. And I also have found that sometimes I read something and something new comes to my mind now that it might mean to me. I could read the same scripture every day and something new pops out to me. And that's because the Holy Spirit is speaking now to me. So my whole testimony started with drawing and painting in my Bible, because I started reading the Word and I started listening to the Lord. And that's the best way, I think, to have a personal relationship with God. Don't base it on, these mega church pastors or your local pastor or your best friend or anyone else, because people are fallible. We're all sinners. We all have things we get wrong when we're talking about it. So even listening to me today, this is just to encourage you to read your Bible. because that's how I had a deeper relationship with the Lord. And so I just found this little card that my friend Barbara gave me, and I thought this sounds perfect for today. And it says, "Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer." Romans 12:12. And I do love that um, God is faithful to listen to our prayers. So I do pray for each and every one of you. I say, Lord, please help and protect my subscribers, my followers, and those who are in need of salvation, which we all are. So that's just something I do for you guys. And I say how much I love you, and I do mean it. And I just appreciate you being here. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a blessed day.